Can someone explain to me why store-bought buttermilk has 10 ingredients, but I have this and it has 1 ingredient in it, and that is cream with the butter taken out? Because that is what buttermilk is supposed to be. And hopefully the answer isn't because that's just the way it's always been, because that's every answer I got to every question I ever had when I was growing up. I mean, because that's just the Amish's favorite answer to everything. But I'm going to show you guys how to make buttermilk cookies with good buttermilk. Now, you can use store-bought. It works just fine, but it has a lot more ingredients in it, and I do not like it. You need to start with your sugar. We're going to add some butter, and these cookies are so popular among the Amish. They have them as snacks for the little kids during church because their church services are about 3 hours long, which means little kids need snacks. And they always put a raisin right in the middle, and then sometimes they frost them for afternoon snacks for the people that stay after church, because they feed the people lunch on church Sundays. They only have church every 2 weeks. Now, as soon as you have that all creamed together, we're going to add in our eggs, and this works best if you have home-raised eggs, which is what I love. I have these right here, and you can see they're home-raised because I didn't clean them. They have some yolk on from when the chickens broke another egg right next to it. Just beat those eggs in until everything is nice and smooth. Once you have that creamed together, you need to add vanilla, and you can also add lemon flavoring if you like lemon cookies. It will just taste like lemon cookies with some buttermilk in it, which is also really good. Now we need to add our dry ingredients alternately with that buttermilk, so I'm going to add some of our flour in. I'm also going to add my baking powder in right away, and our baking soda. I did not put this in the recipe, so this is completely optional, but I like salt in my things, so I'm going to add some salt in there, and I'm going to mix that in. Now I do not have all of my flour in here because that would make it really crumbly, and we do not want it to get crumbly. Now that I have that all mixed in, I'm going to add half of my buttermilk in there, and I'm going to stir it in before adding the rest of my flour. Now these are also really good cookies to use with cookie cutters, so they work really well for Christmas cookies. You can decorate them really well. But just in case you're wondering, no, we did not make Christmas cookies when I was growing up. We did, however, make Christmas candy. At Christmas time was always really exciting because we made a lot of homemade candy, and it was the only time of the year when we made candy. And I think part of the reason for that was because other times of the year it was just plain too warm outside. You couldn't set your stuff outside to cool or to chill or anything. And we didn't have fridges, so that was really hard to do anything if you needed to chill something. Now our baking days for church were usually on Friday, so we would make this dough on Thursday evenings, put it in our ice box overnight so it can chill, which is what you're supposed to do. But I do not have the patience to do this right now, so we're going to do it the way we sometimes did if we were in a hurry. You need your cookie sheet, and you're going to lightly flour that instead of greasing it. And you also do this if you chill your dough, because you're supposed to chill your dough and then roll it out and cut it out and put it on here, but I'm just going to use a cookie dropper, and you're just going to drop those on there one at a time. Once you have them all dropped on here, you need to flatten them a little bit, and you can't just do that with a plain glass. I always like to use a glass bottom, but I'm going to dunk mine in sugar so it crystallizes a little on top, which makes them really good. You don't want to flatten them a lot, just enough that you can see they're a little smushed. Now that I have those all flattened down a little, I'm going to put some raisins in so the kids have something to snack at church, and we always look for the ones with the biggest raisins, so I'm going to put 2 in each center. And whenever we made something for little kids growing up, we did not worry about gluten, because I didn't realize what gluten-free stuff was until after I left the Amish. And I also used to think being gluten intolerant was just someone's mind, so I didn't think it was actually a real thing. I think the kids would really love how many raisins I put on there, so I'm going to stick these in the oven to bake them. You just bake them until they're lightly golden brown. These things turned out so perfect, and you want to take them off the pan immediately after taking them out of the oven. Put them on a rack to cool off. And whenever we bake cookies at home, we always scrape the crumbs off like this, and us kids would actually fight to eat those crumbs because we thought they were so good. Now if you want a tip on how to store these so they stay nice and soft, because these are really soft cookies, just put a piece of bread into your airtight container with your cookies. The moistness in the bread will keep the cookies nice and moist so they stay nice and soft. Let's take a bite and make sure these are good. The sugar on top is nice and crunchy, and you can taste the buttery flavor of the buttermilk. It is so good. I'm not a huge fan of eating these just plain, so I have 3 ways that I love eating them. One is by dunking them into a glass of ice cold milk, fresh milk that is not from the store but straight from your cow. You just eat them like this. Or another good way is to dunk them into peppermint tea, fresh homemade peppermint tea with tea from your garden. That is beyond description. It is just so good. And you can also dunk it in fresh hot black coffee. So delicious. The tea and coffee options are options that the Amish take literally every time they eat these cookies. You can also frost these, but I'm not going to because I have sugar on top, and I have the frosting recipe like we always use with the recipe in my cookbook with this recipe. They're under buttermilk cookies, and that recipe is in my Amish cookbook. The cookbook is linked on my website, socialsbylavina.com. And the website is linked in my profile or in the caption depending on what platform you're on, or you can just type into your browser app search bar, socialsbylavina.com, and my website will pop up. And it has a lot of other recipes in there from my childhood, a lot of them that we use at church too, including me soup, which means church soup. So I hope you guys try these and enjoy.